And goddess with the throne on her head, because in order for the king to sit on the throne, he had to come through her to sit on the throne. As I said, every male came through the woman. Is that right? This is the African story of the first man and woman on earth. The first god and goddess on earth was Asar and Aset, who the Greeks call Isis and Osiris. This was our creation story, where they were created by Ptah, created by Nut, where she gave birth to the first man and woman, who were created simultaneously, by the way. No rib was taken from the man in our story to make the woman. That was not part of our creation story. And the story is also told because the goddess Aset showed that Asar had to resurrect from the dead, because an evil brother named Set in our creation story, showing that there was an evil brother who killed his good brother Asar, cut him up into 14 pieces, and miraculously the body came together. Everything came together but the penis. So here you see the goddess Aset descends on top of the penis to take the seed back to her womb. This is in what is known as the Ptah Soker Shrine. This is the only relief is still there. All the others have been chiseled out, telling of the first virgin birth and immaculate conception story. But notice how he's lying out on the funeral bed with his head crown. You can see how it ends up in Rome with the Pope on the same funeral bed. And perpendicular to his penis, now they got a white Mary and Jesus. We had no problem showing the penis for the erection. But they couldn't show the penis because they had a problem with not having the penis. Let's go on to see that the body was sacred. It was a symbol for resurrection. Because without an erect penis, can he erect? Can the man produce life without an erect penis? So our ancestors used symbols. So on this ancient papyrus, showing the jet black god Asar resurrecting from the dead. The earliest resurrection stories here, brothers and sisters, with the X that means resurrect, the scarab means keparah, to self-create. Why does he have the sun above his penis? Because we looked at nature. Right before sunrise, what happens, brothers, to you right before sunrise? There's no one suffering from phagocytis in here, is it? That's a new disease. Don't you get an erection? Well, sisters, if you have any problems with the brothers, just wait for sunrise. Here you see the erection, showing the masculine and feminine symbols, and the erect penis representing Asar. That's why when you see this symbol of the masculine symbol showing the erect arrow, it goes all the way back to Asar's erect penis. Showing also the feminine symbol is also the symbol of the goddess Aset's uterus, as you see right here, where she gave birth the first holy birth. So these are symbols that when you see today of the masculine and feminine symbols, goes all the way back to our African ancestors. Let's look at this further, because as you see her holding the Ankh for life, our ancestors were telling us every woman could produce a virgin birth and immaculate conception, provided that the woman is on spiritual level and the man is on spiritual level. The coming together of both of them produced a clean conception, until white folks corrupted it. This was the first African man and woman, Asar and Aset, who came together, who was synthesized, a little clarity, who came together, who produced the first holy birth, the first resurrection story, the prototype of the Madonna and child. Here we see the goddess Aset, as she was called the Mutnetchet. Say Mutnetchet. That's all that can say Mutnetchet. Mutnetchet. Now you can understand where the term Mother Nature came from. She was known as the Theotokos, the mother of God. Here we see the prototype of the Madonna and child right here, long before some Catholicism and the Roman Catholic white Mary and Jesus. What makes the white Mary and Jesus so more sacred than your ancestors when you had it over 4,100 years BC? Spiritual enslavement makes the white one more sacred. But he was the Sa-Ra, meaning Horus, who was the Sa-Ra, the son of God, showing that she gave birth of a virgin birth of immaculate conception, as he's also known as Haru, personification of the sun. This story was told of the goddess Aset and her husband Asar and her son Haru. It ended up in cosmological stories in the universe for it to last forever. So the great African priests of Het-Ka-Ptah, or the city of Menefer, when they laid out the Giza Plateau, they wanted the story of Asar and Aset to last for eternity, so they told it in the celestial universe, showing that Orion represented Asar and Ceres represented Aset. And also Haru represented the sun, and the constellation of Leo, he symbolically was returning back to his spiritual mother and father. So the whole Giza Plateau was laid out on an architectural basis based off of the celestial universe. So the early priests were able to lay out Horem-Akhet, who the Greeks called the Sphinx, based off of the celestial universe of Leo, showing the sun was returning back to the constellation of Orion that represented his father Asar in that constellation. A man by the name of Robert Bouvet, in his book, he did not reveal that African ancestors had concept of astrology, concept of astronomy, the layout of the universe for countless thousands of years. Although he was revealing and giving up some of the truth. But let's go into this further, because here you see Horem-Akhet looking to the east, symbolically showing that he wanted to return back to his father Asar, represented in Orion's belt. The Milky Way was the celestial now. That's why, like on Sinmut and the Valley of the Kings, you always saw the boat and the 3 stars. Symbolically, he was returning back to the celestial now of the Milky Way that would take him back to the first spiritual man or father on earth, and that was Asar and his wife Aset. That was the basis of the whole Giza Plateau, based off of the celestial universe, where our ancestors built this oldest colossal on the planet Earth, over 240 foot long and 65 feet high, looking to the east. Keep in mind that when our ancestors built the Horem-Akhet right here, they showed that it correspondence with the meridian. When the constellation of Leo rose in the meridian, it faced the constellation of Orion that Abdul talked about. And who was Horus's father? Osiris. Was Osiris, who our ancestors called Asar. So he looked to the east because he wanted to return back to his father that was in the constellation of Orion. And when those early kings came here and stood here, they had a layout of what they wanted this to be like. They just didn't start building. There had to be a blueprint. So those early Shemsu Horus priests looked to the east, and in the stars they saw the Trinity. Ceres represented Isis, and Orion represented Asar, and the star coming up in the east in the meridian, the constellation of Leo, represented Haru or Horus, and that's why you got this colossal looking to the east, representing the constellation of Leo that rises on a meridian that faces the constellation of Leo. Now that may sound a little abstract, but in our lecture tonight, I'll give you the sheet so you can see it. I just want you to have a mental snapshot of all of this.